Life will test you, not when everything's going right, but when the storm hits hardest. The real question isn't can you dream big, it's can you believe when everything around you is falling apart? If you're tired of playing small, if you've had enough of living below your potential, then listen closely, because this isn't just motivation. This is your wake-up call. Corinthia, when did you realize your confidence to become a speaker? Les Brown, it was an evolving process. I decided that anything that's worth doing, and I want you to make a note of this and write it down, is worth doing badly. Ed Foreman said that anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. No one comes out of the gate doing anything great. It's a learning curve that's required. After trying and failing again and again, pretty soon I found my confidence. If you want to speak, speak. I spoke scared. I was so nervous, I said, well, I need to speak to some people that can't see my nervousness. So I spoke to elementary school kids. They didn't know enough to know whether or not I knew what I was talking about. They told the teacher, "Can you bring that man back who's got that funny laugh? I'm really good with children. They love me. They do." And I grew from there. I just said, I'm going to speak, and I've spoken. People weren't listening. They did other things, and I didn't care. I just kept on talking, going back to my coach, and continuing to sharpen the saw. You know, Abraham Lincoln said if you got 6 hours to chop a tree down, spend 4 hours sharpening the axe. I continued to get the coaching I needed to improve my presentation skills. How I could use quotes, statistics, humor, energy, passion, rhythm. I'm coachable. Most people are where they are now because they don't know that they don't know, and they think they know, and they refuse to be coached. Bob Proctor said most people are where they are because of ignorance. They are not willing to face the reality that their best thinking has produced the life that they now have. If they could have made more money, they would have done it. If they could have had greater impact, they would have done it. But ego, edging God out, ego and pride stop most people from learning, from being open. My high school theme, Booker T, Washington High School in Overtown, Miami, was, you never find out how much you know until you find out how little you know. This is the time to be a perpetual learner. Things are changing so dramatically, and still changing. It has not stopped. And I said, no, y'all ain't leaving me behind. I'm coming. Sam and Dave would say, hold on, I'm coming. Let me tell you how that song was written. Isaac Hayes and Dave Porter wrote that song. Dave had to go to the restroom. Isaac said, come on, man, I'm in a creative mode. Hurry up. And Dave said, hold on, I'm coming. Isaac said, that's the title. That's the title. Hold on, I'm coming. You know Midnight Train to Georgia. My former wife used to sing, and she still does. It was originally Midnight Plane to Houston. They didn't like to fly. They said, we don't like to fly. Do you mind changing it to train? The writer said, no. And we don't live in Houston. We live in Atlanta. Do you mind changing it to Georgia? He said, no. And the rest is history. You can't make this stuff up. I'm telling you what I know. Helen Keller said, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. Put yourself in a community where you can grow, where you can learn, where you have relationships with people that have resources and contacts that you don't have. That's important right now. Come out from among people that are broke. Come out from among people that don't have anything and don't want anything. Come out from among people that are argumentative and always creating some kind of drama. You don't need that, raising your blood pressure. No, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be peaceful. You deserve to have the best that life has to offer. Take responsibility for the kind of life that you want. If that's you, if you're ready for a major shift, see, Disruptions require transformation. We are going through a major disruption, and you don't want to try to do it by yourself. You can't do all the thinking. You need to be in a community of people that's got your back. And I guarantee you, when you join our greatness community, this culture we're in is designed to destroy your sense of self, to deny you, to demonize you, and have you thinking small. You were designed for greatness. You were made in the likeness and image of God. It doesn't get any better than that. You've been given authority and dominion over everything, but we've been programmed to fail constantly. You have something special. You have greatness in you. I've heard it said that there are some things you can't see looking forward, but you can only see looking backward. I've been known for speaking and changing people's lives all around the world, using my voice and the ability to tell a story in all types of situations. I often talk about the fact that I'm here because of two women. One gave me life. That's a person I had never seen. And one gave me love. That's the person here holding me and my twin brother, Mrs. Mamie Brown. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. I had no idea being raised in poverty. We were poor, but we didn't know we were poor. Something in me. I don't know exactly when it happened, but I remember one day I went to an event and saw Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. speak in Miami, and I also saw Malcolm X. I was so moved by their oratorical skills. I said, I want to do that. I was so impressed with Malcolm X. I went to school the next day and told the teacher my name was Leslie X. The teacher called my mother Mrs. Mamie Brown, and that was the end of that. She beat that X out of me, but I used my voice. I was a radio personality. I organized demonstrations in Columbus, Ohio, against police brutality and deadly force. I got fired in the 70s for speaking up. I led groups of over 5,000 in the snow. I became a state representative in Ohio, elected 3 terms, chairman of the Education Committee and Human Resource Committee. Passed 14 bills my first term using my voice. I resigned when my adopted mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. I fulfilled my promise that she would never go into a nursing home. I came back home to take care of her, using my voice. I became a community activist in Miami again, fighting against what was harming our communities. I developed a reputation, was invited to speak at Harvard, became a compelling speaker, known for telling stories. The National Speakers Association gave me their highest honor, the CP Award, Council of Peers Award for Excellence. Toastmasters International gave me the Golden Gavel Award. I was selected among the top 5 speakers in the world: Zig Ziglar, Norman Schwarzkopf, Leon Cooper, Robert Schuller, Paul Harvey, and myself. I was paid $5 million to do the Les Brown Show. I had no idea where that gift came from. I wondered, did I get it from my father? Did I get it from my mother? Unbeknownst to me, my oldest son went on a search and found my birth parents. He discovered my grandmother, Buer Rucko, was a motivational speaker and educator. She started a school. She was hungry to learn, taught herself to read using newspaper insulation from the walls of her cabin. She stood before the school head and held out both hands when asked for money and said, "These hands can work." She got in. She worked. She graduated with honors. She returned to Gainesville, Georgia, and taught others how to read, how to teach, how to become entrepreneurs, passing that hunger on. That was passed to her daughter, my birth mother. Dorothy Bell, also a motivational speaker. She traveled, she sang, she helped people, and now I know that's where I got this gift from. My son found my family, talked to a brother I never knew I had, and I visited the Buer-Rucker Museum. I called and said, Dorothy Bell is my mother. He said, well, that's my mother too. That makes us brothers. At the museum, all I could say was, I found them. Now I know who I am, where I came from, and where I got my voice from. Mother Teresa said, just when I thought I had a handle on life, the handle broke. This discovery opened up a whole new world for me. To God be the glory. It's a long shot, ladies and gentlemen, from Liberty City, an abandoned building, unknown mother or father. It's a long shot being here with you in this dome in Atlanta. No college training, labeled educable, mentally retarded, but I kept running toward my dream. Don't stop. Don't stop running toward your dream. And I say that when we speak, we create an experience, because how people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. And so, when you speak, what you do is distract, dispute, and inspire. You distract them from their story with your story, through the strategic execution of your story and the things that you have learned, and the failures and the setbacks and the victories. You dismantle their current belief system and inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter in their lives. Distract, dispute, and inspire. We create an experience, and I believe that the reason many speakers aren't able to do what we do is they feel that information is important. And I can tell you unequivocally, if information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. You hear what he's saying. He's talking about the dismantling of the old story that you're telling the world. And some people have the magical, miraculous ability to do that. This man right here has it. You have it too. Thank you. I've been watching you. I said, you can't sneak up on the old man. I said, look at him. You think you're going to ambush me. No way. Me and Les Brown are going to be working together March 17th, 18th, and 19th. Right here in Miami. He's only spoken here 4 times in the world. You've probably been to Europe more than 4 times. Oh my goodness, yes. I've spoken in Poland and Johannesburg, South Africa and Australia, and London, England, and Hong Kong. I've spoken all over the world, and you know less. I mean, you're 72. I'm 58 years old. Now you have 10 kids. Yes, 5 boys and 5 girls. He's trying to tell me you've got to pick up the pace. Yes, he said, be fruitful and multiply. I took him serious. Yeah, you did, man. He's 10x. That's what I'm talking about. Can you feel a brother up in here? Yeah, I can. And so, I mean, look you and I'm sure you do. And I'm transparent, so I talk about this. I know I'm closer to the end of my career than the beginning of it. I don't think so. No, because part of delivering this message when you're in alignment with your purpose, I believe that gives you more time on the universe. Just look at me. I'm 72, but I don't look it. I don't have 72-year-old energy. There's a difference between that physiological age and that spiritual age. And I think when you're in alignment and doing what you're supposed to do, that pleasures God, that it keeps you young. You have the energy of a 20-year-old, yes, and so that allows you to be. But I mean, there's going to be a time when you and I are not living in these bodies on a stage, without any question, and I'm not looking forward to that. Les Brown, stay with me. We'll be right back for Power Players. Welcome back to Power Players. Grant Cardone here with the legendary Les Brown. We were talking on break. He promised a breakthrough in March. Without any question, you do that because of the fact that what we do We have the ability, and we've developed over a period of time, and I don't know exactly when it happens, where you can speak to a crowd of people, and you're speaking to them as a group, but also individually. They come away as a result of your speaking into them. And as we weave a story with our experiences, because of who we are behind the words that we speak, because of what we've gone through, a person who hasn't gone through anything, it's hard for them to reach somebody's heart because they've never been there. Sometimes God has to break a life before he can use a life. And so you and I individually, we've been broken. And so he put us back together. And as a result of that, we can be used. But we couldn't be used before. To me, to be able to be a channel to help people discover a part of themselves that they could never discover by themselves. That's what you do. That's what we do. And that's why people listen to us and come to us. So why do so many people want to be public speakers, but are also fearful of it? And how can you help that person? Oh, well, the training that I do, they speak immediately. That's the quickest thing to go. They speak immediately. You have to set them up so they don't have time to think. And so in the training, they speak immediately. And they love it, because I believe that we're supposed to be doing this. I had a lady fly from Australia recently to be trained by me. She emailed me and said cost is not an issue, and so I asked her the second day, and I only train with people I feel a close connection with one-on-one. I said, why did you want to come to me? She said, I saw American television. It talked about this young white boy that went into a black church and killed 9 people. And I said to myself, what if I had gotten in his ear? She said, nothing enters except through the eyes or the ears. And this gave me goosebumps. She said, you speak from your heart, and I want to learn how to do that, because I believe the world is the way that it is not because of a few people who are violent. She said, the world is the way it is because too many people are silent. Yes. And I said, whoa. And I decided, that's awesome, that my goal is to help people outside of politics and outside of religion, which polarize people, have a voice. You know, politicians say, do as I tell you to do, and I'll give you a piece of the American pie. Ministers say, do as I tell you to do, and I can teach you how to live after you die. And our goal is teaching people how to live right here, right now, because the difference ultimately between what we do and what ministers do, they preach the gospel about Jesus. We preach the gospel that Jesus preached. They sell the messenger, and we sell the message. And so, as a result, we can empower people to take charge of their lives and begin to create a new story, to write new chapters with their lives. Like Les talked about, the lady from Australia that says it's not because of the violence, but because of the silence. I think most businesses fail, most people never make it. Most people never reach their greatness because they don't know how to tell their story. Yes, that's major. What will you be sharing with the audience? Well, let me just share with you why the story is important. The story is important because when you speak, if you're selling, you're an entrepreneur, you've got a product, you have an expertise. Knowledge is the new currency. People are asking 3 questions. Who are you? What do you have? Why should I care? If you don't answer that, because we know people do business with who? With people they know, like, and trust. And when you can answer that, now you're building rapport and a connection that creates a possibility where you can do business together and help each other go to that next level. Faith, your bills are paid, you got a job, your business is successful, the relationships are working, The children are not driving you crazy. It's easy to have faith then. But when you have had the rug snatched out from under you like the pandemic has done, faith not tested cannot be trusted. Okay, the next thing that's very important is having relationships. My son, John Leslie, who's a speaker and a coach and the president of our company, said always ask yourself when you think about your relationships, who should you count on and who should you count out? There are people who are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. And so this is the time that we have to look at relationships and ask the question, what is this relationship doing to me? Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said you earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier said that when you go for a walk with somebody, something happens. Either they adjust to your pace or you adjust to their pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? And so I encourage people to look at your relationships and ask, what is this relationship doing to me? Am I growing mentally and emotionally and spiritually and financially? Am I living a life that will outlive me? The next thing is developing collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, but also practicing the principle of upgrading your communication skills. Warren Buffett, when he graduated from Harvard, the first thing he did was he invested in a communication skills course. I train people in a course I call Hungry to Speak. And the reason is Steve Jobs said the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world. That if you can tell a story about yourself, about your knowledge, your skills, do a podcast that's compelling like you're doing to make your mark for that which you believe in. This is the attention economy. But in order to get the attention, create an experience with the attention and ignite the attention. People who don't know how to do that, they have skinny children. So you got to learn how to become an effective communicator in order to make it in the attention economy. Hold that attention, create an experience with that attention so that you can have your place in the marketplace. Mindset, relationships, occupy only quality people and effective communication skills. You are such a powerful speaker. You spoke about powerful speaking. How did you become such a powerful speaker yourself? Well, people say that I'm a powerful speaker. I think I'm a much more effective speech coach, but I study. I believe that as you look at yourself and you have the sacred opportunity to speak to audiences to inspire them, because at the end of the day, when we speak to an audience, the three things that we want to accomplish. We want to change their collective thinking, that's number one, and how they see themselves and the story they believe about themselves. The second thing is that our goal is not only to change their thinking, but to broaden and expand their vision of what's possible in their lives. And the third thing is to inspire them to become, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. And so I think what people admire me for, and why I received the highest award from the National Speakers Association and Toastmasters International Golden Gavel Award, and was selected among the top 5 speakers in the world, I think what they admire me for is the impact that I've made with audiences achieving the objectives that I just talked about. Because when people hear you speak, the goal and objective is for them to leave there feeling better about themselves and talking about the experience that you created for them to get that vision of themselves. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to go back to where it was. And my goal is to, when I speak to an audience, never allow them to be comfortable with living a life of mediocrity, of being comfortable, of being average with people who are living a level of being average. Those individuals are going through life doing the things they feel they need to do. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're living from a place of responsibility. You go through life doing the things that you are called to do, that you see yourself answering the calling on your life. Doing those things that create value for people, that will make a difference in people, and that will leave a legacy. How many of you, since you've been here, have gotten some value that will impact your life personally and your bottom line? Raise your hands, please. That's what it means. It consists of the wills and the will-nots. In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today. Invest in yourself. Coaching in order to be successful. You must be willing to do the things today. Develop strategic relationships and people that you can learn from that others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. You're investing in yourself. You're coming here, flying here, driving here. You're taking the time to learn new strategies and how you can offset the competition. It makes you different. You're uncommon. One great American said, "I choose not to be a common man. It's my right to be uncommon if I can. I seek opportunity, not security. I do not wish to be a kept citizen, humbled and dulled by having the state look after me. I want to take the calculated risk to dream and to build, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to live from hand to mouth. I prefer the challenges of life to the guaranteed existence, the thrill of fulfillment to the stale calm of utopia. I will never cower before the master nor bend to any threat. It's my heritage to stand erect, proud, and unafraid to face the world boldly and say, 'This I have done.' That's why you became an entrepreneur. That's why you're here. You have the boldest, uncommon desire to control your own destiny. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on. How do you get ready for an important speech? Well, one of the things that I teach in terms of preparation for a speech is to find out as much about the audience as possible. Who are you going to speak to? Do what I call communications intelligence. You want to get all the information about that organization, the mindset of the audience. What are the goals and objectives they want to achieve? We have a needs assessment that we will provide for you. What is it that these entrepreneurs are looking for? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What do they bring to the table of business? How do they see themselves locally and globally in the scheme of things? What is it that at the end of that presentation you want people to walk away with? And then what I do is craft a message and embodiment of that message in that presentation, and that workshop, the things that will allow them to achieve those objectives. If it's to improve their skill set, if it's to expand their attitude and their vision of themselves and what's possible for them, if it's to enhance them and to inspire them to take their lives to the next level, those will be the things that we will emphasize in that presentation. As a result of them being exposed to that experience, the information, and all of the things that I've learned over the years of doing this, that they leave there with something of value they can sink their teeth into, that they can go and start applying it in their lives and in their businesses. You weren't born to be average. You were born to stand out, to lead, to create impact. The dream you're holding in your heart, it's not random, it's your assignment. So rise up. Invest in your mind, build powerful relationships, sharpen your voice, because the world is waiting for what only you can bring. And when you feel tired, when you feel like quitting, remember this: you are the one your future self is counting on. Now go out there and write a chapter the world will never forget.